This week on the Gadget Show WebTV, Otis is checking out a new water-powered alarm clock, and John's got a first look at the Dell XPS One computer, plus the latest in gadget tech news. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Gadget Show WebTV. Later, Otis is looking at a new water-powered alarm clock, but first here's John with the new Dell XPS All-in-One computer.
This is the new 24-inch version of Dell's XPS One All-in-One PC. It shares the really rather attractive styling of the original. There's this elegant transparent base unit, this dynamic angle to the screen casing, except in this case obviously the screen is bigger, 24 inches, 1920 by 1200 pixels. And on this top of the range example here you get quite a lot of extra features. Either side of the screen you get these powerful speakers from speaker manufacturer JBL, claimed power output of 25 watts, and they really do sound very good for speakers on an all-in-one PC. You also get a Blu-ray drive in this slot here with a very nice feature when your hands approach, and touchscreen display here illuminates in blue. There's also a good quality 2 megapixel webcam built in, and a decent Bluetooth keyboard with its own trackpad, volume and media controls, and another touchscreen display there. Plus there's a matching Bluetooth mouse and an illuminated remote control, which is really quite neat. And there's plenty of connectivity options. There's a useful 18-1 card slot on the side here, plus 6 USBs and 2 FireWire. Although, bearing in mind the multimedia aspirations of this machine, it's perhaps rather unfortunate that they didn't see fit to include some HDMI sockets so you could connect external TV boxes or games consoles to the machine as well. Though it does include an analog and a digital Freeview tuner, which is quite sensitive, I found, for one in a PC, so you could actually use it as a sort of living room combined PC and telly if you wanted to. Overall, on the screen quality, I was generally quite impressed, although when I compared it side to side with an iMac while I was testing, I found the actual colours looked slightly unrealistic in comparison, but maybe that's something that you could address by going into the calibration controls. In day-to-day use though, when you're watching DVDs, Blu-rays, telly, when you're doing normal tasks, it is actually a very impressive screen. Inside, this one's got a 500GB hard drive and an Intel Core 2 Quad processor running at 2.33 GHz. There's a modest, though adequate, 2GB of RAM and a powerful, though not core gaming NVIDIA N600M graphics card. In practice, I found the machine wasn't quite as quick as those specifications would suggest. I was testing it alongside some cheaper all-in-ones from Apple and HP, and they were actually a bit quicker at doing sort of everyday tasks like photo processing and copying files. Although it does a reasonably good job as a gaming machine, it can run the Ultimate Gamer's Test Crisis at medium quality settings quite adequately. On the negative side, my machine did produce the odd whistling noise at times, though overall it was commendably quiet. And I wasn't too convinced by some of Dell's software add-ons. I didn't find this quick launch toolbar particularly useful, for example, and this bizarre dialog box kept appearing. It asked you to choose between yes and no without giving you any indication what you're choosing between. I think it's something to do with Dell's online data safe. Overall though, it is actually an immensely attractive all-in-one. The main drawback with it, I think, is the considerable price. You seem to be paying quite a premium for the Blu-ray drive, the good sound and the 24-inch screen. So, it's definitely a luxury purchase.
If you love gaming but don't own one or all of the main games consoles, then you might be interested to hear about a new on-demand gaming service called OnLive. Now, the service allows users to play the latest games on their Macs, PCs and even their televisions through broadband internet connection. Now, OnLive have said that broadband connection speeds of 5 megabits per second are fast enough for HD gaming, whilst connections of 1.5 megabits and more are fine for standard definition. Now, for those of you who want to play these games through your television, you will have to buy a small micro console from OnLive, which will allow your televisions to connect to the internet and access the games. Now, if this service takes off, it could be great news for gaming enthusiasts, as it means you can play the latest games without having to have a high-quality PC or console. Now, the beta version of OnLive will be available later this year. Now, the BBC have introduced live television to mobile phones, which means that you can watch your favourite programmes on your phone at the same time as they're playing on television. So if you don't make it home in time to watch EastEnders or The Apprentice, you don't have to worry, you can just whip out your phone and catch them there. To receive live TV, you need to be connected to a Wi-Fi network and shows a broadcast in 176 by 144 pixels. Currently, you can watch shows from all the major BBC channels from BBC 1 to 4, CBeebies and BBC News. However, they don't have licences for all programmes, so live sport might not be available. And remember, you will need a full-colour TV licence to enjoy the service legally. Right now, it's time for Otis and its water-powered alarm clock.
I was rummaging through the organised confusion that is a typical desktop here in the Gadget Show office, and I found this. It's a water-powered clock. How does it work? Well, it uses an ingenious water-powered battery cell. This has 2 electrodes in it, one anode, one cathode, which are made from a specially formulated alloy, which, when placed into water, undergo a chemical reaction. This chemical reaction turns water molecules into positive and negative ions. Negative ions are attracted to the positive electrode, and positive ions are attracted to the negative electrode. This creates a potential, a difference in charge between the 2 electrodes, and that generates a current. It's this current which powers this. It's not just a clock. To rotate through the functions, you literally rotate the clock. So you've got clock there, temperature, stopwatch, and alarm. That is genius. Now think about the applications in the future. You could potentially, after a downpour of rain, take a bucket, pour it into the cell of your house and power every device in your household. Brilliant.
Well, unfortunately, that's it for this week, but we'll be back at the same time next week with more WebTV. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter for regular updates from the office.